Maybe you want to complete lost sectors faster, or maybe you're tired of fighting champions and nightfalls, or you just don't have a high enough power level for endgame content. Well, I've got the build that will fix all your problems. This build is tailored to solo legend or master content, as it will allow you to one-shot champions in a simple combo with damage numbers of over 330,000 while ploughing through red bars and building up enough super energy to destroy bosses, making lost sectors an absolute breeze. While I don't see myself using this build in nightfalls, a team with good synergy could definitely utilize a champion killer for more light-hearted runs. Kicking off the build is the weighted throwing knife, dealing extra damage on precision hits, while precision knife kills recharge our class ability. This is the start of our build where knife throws will end up being a one-hit kill against almost any enemy. For our class ability, we are running Gambler's Dodge, recharging our melee when dodging their enemies, starting off the main rotation. To give us some survivability, I've chosen the Healing Grenade, granting us restoration on use. The choice of super is really up to you, however I prefer using Blade Barrage for its high boss damage and ad clearing potential. Now for the aspects in this build, we are going to be running Knock 'em Down, where Radiant Final Blows with our knife fully refill our melee charge, giving us the potential for infinite powered melee charge, even if we miss a precision hit. This aspect also grants us extra projectiles to our Blade Barrage, increasing its overall damage and effectiveness. To compensate for not having a damaging grenade, the second aspect is Gunpowder's Gamble, giving us a solo explosive consistently on solo final blows. Just make sure you don't use it on yourself when trying to heal.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Since it has priority over your healing grenade. Our first fragment is Ember of Torches, where powered melee final blows grant Radiant, which ties in perfectly with Knock 'em Down, refilling our melee charge when getting final blows while Radiant, granting us our infinite knives. The second fragment for this build is Ember of Solace, increasing the base damage of Radiant and Restoration, paired with Ember of Empyrean, causing solo weapon or ability kills to extend the duration of Radiant or Restoration. This will give us some much needed survivability with long amounts of Restoration and extra time on Radiance in between kills. When it comes to the exotic, we are using Arthur's Embrace. This will give our weighted knife a second bounce, and a significant increase in melee damage of 200% when getting rapid precision hits with a weapon. This will also give our knives built-in unstoppable stagger for champions. This exotic alone with the weighted throwing knife will get us knife hits in the 200,000 damage range. While there are no requirements for weapons when it comes to this build, one thing that can really boost your melee damage, allowing us to get those insane numbers of 300,000 damage, is a 1-2 punch shotgun, increasing our melee damage by 200% for a short time after hitting all pellets on the target. Now that we've established how the build works and how to get those insane numbers on champions, let's talk mods. You don't actually need mods for this build to work, but we can get some nice to have benefits like increased weapon damage and supercharge. We are going to be using elemental wells in this build for their ability recharge rates, and our main way of acquiring wells is going to be with melee wellmaker, spawning an elemental well when we get melee final blows, with bountiful wells to gain 2 wells on each kill. These wells are going to chain into Font of Might for increased weapon damage and Font of Wisdom to grant us increased intellect almost permanently since the effect refreshes on each well pickup. The last major mod we'll be running is Well of Life for increased regeneration when we pick up elemental wells, which can really help recover health after being in the face of a champion with a shotgun. For some additional minor mods, I'll be running Hands On for extra super energy on melee kills, bearing in mind that higher tier enemies grant more supercharge. We are going to be building up huge amounts of super energy to unleash on a boss or to insta-clear a room of ads in the lost sector or dungeon. We are also going to equip some resistance mods with thermoshock plating and void resistance to make sure we aren't a complete glass cannon when getting in the face of champions. I've also decided to go for a better or ready mod to start health regen on Orb of Light pickup. To help ensure that we have our dodge in case we miss our knife throws, I'm also running insulation mods to increase class ability regeneration, granting some much needed redundancy to the rotation. In the arm slot, you can just equip whatever champion mods you may need for your activity, bearing in mind that melees have built-in unstoppable stagger with our exotic trait. This build really has been some of the most fun I've had in PvE in a while, and I would recommend this build to anyone who wants to annihilate champions in Legend or Master Lost sectors. If you enjoyed this build showcase, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, check out my playlist for other cool Destiny 2 builds, and I'll see you in the next one.